Good morning, everybody. This is Jim Feist in Las Vegas, and I'm joined again by Hank Goldberg from Florida. Hank, you're heading out here for the Super Bowl. I know you got a big week planned. Vegas just fills up for the Super Bowl. It's party time here. I think more people are going to come here this year because they don't want to go to Minnesota to be in that 3-degree temperature. We've got 70-degree temperatures out here, which is unusual for January. But Hank, how you doing today?
I'm doing fine. The cold weather's not scaring the Philadelphia people away. They're paying as much as $5,000 a ticket to get in and see that game. Of course, when you go to Minnesota, I've been there for Super Bowls. Nobody goes outside. You know, they have indoor walkways where you really don't have to go outside. So, and they're not going to open up those doors or that roof, that's for sure. So, you know, they'll be nice and cozy inside that building.
I guess maybe one of the pastimes in Minnesota is ice fishing. I don't know if anybody's going to go do that, but
or you go ice fishing, or they have, or you can go, you can get in one of those, kind of like, you get in one of those vehicles that you can have races in over the ice.
Oh, it's a different world. It's I grew up in cold weather. I grew up in cold weather in Pennsylvania, and I don't miss it. I've been out here for 48 years, so it's I like this kind of temperature out here. But anyway,
before we talk about the game, what do you think about the trade for Alex Smith going to Washington?
Well, I think Kansas, looking at it from the other perspective, I think Kansas City needed to make a change. They need to make a lot of changes there. Their offensive coordinator, of course, is now a head coach for another team, and they need to do something. And I think a lot of people blame Alex Smith for a lot of that problem, and it really wasn't him. I don't believe he's been a very accurate, efficient quarterback. No, he's not a Tom Brady, but there aren't that many Tom Bradys. I think Washington. I think Gruden and Smith are going to get along very well. I don't know what the problem was with Cousins there, why they never gave him a long-term deal, or why he didn't want to have a. I don't know what the case was, but I think Alex will do well. He's a good quarterback. He's been a good quarterback at San Francisco and Kansas City. Very efficient, 70% completion rate. The guy is good. And if they build a team around him, they need a defense. They need to be able to stop the run. They need to be able to run the ball. There's a lot of things to make a team good, and it's not just a quarterback. But I think Alex is he's 33 years old, so to get a couple of years, 3-4 years out of him, and if they build a team around him, I think the coach can do good. I think he can do good. Kansas City is just moving in a different direction. They're rebuilding. They're going with a younger guy. That whole division out there has got issues. I mean, Denver needs a quarterback. They got to do something. I mean, of course, Phillip Rivers for San Diego or L.A. now, but the Chargers, he's getting up in years, so not sure how long he'll be around. But that's another issue. And of course, Oakland now with Gruden over there and Carr, and they're going to be moving to Vegas in a couple of years. There's a lot of changes going on in the AFC West. It's going to be interesting.
Well, I'll tell you why they did the deal. First of all, they didn't want to make Cousins the highest paid quarterback in the league, or the highest paid player in the league, and that's what he was looking for. So this makes a lot more sense for Washington financially. So, they weren't going to be able to sign Cousins, who's a free agent, who was looking for that kind of pay. And so that was a no-brainer from Washington's standpoint, and they got a very good quarterback who can run the pass option. He's one of the fastest quarterbacks in the league, and he's going to play for Gruden's brother, who's very good with quarterbacks. And I think they made a heck of a deal for themselves. And they got rid of a headache financially. that's why, from Washington's standpoint and from Kansas City's standpoint, you know, they had drafted his successor, and everybody knew that. You know, this was going to be Alex Smith last year in Kansas City. So it worked out very well for Washington. And, you know, they didn't, Kansas City didn't get that much for him.
No, Cousins is going to move on somewhere. Somebody's going to pick him up. He's a good quarterback. He can help a team do a lot of things, and he's going to get big money. The problem,
yeah, he could go to Denver. He could go to Jacksonville, and he could help those teams a lot.
Yeah, you know, it's hard to find really good quarterbacks, and when you reach into the draft, you know, you don't know what you're going to get with these college kids. Some will work out, some won't. Most won't, actually. So, you know, getting a guy like Cousins can really change your team very quickly. And I think he's a good fit for Denver. I like to see him go there because they already have a really good defense, and the running game is there. And that could be a game changer out there if they can sign him. That's would be my preferable spot to see him go because it's already a team that has a lot of their departments are already filled up pretty good. But anyway, there's going to be a lot of changes in the NFL. There already are with coaches.
I got to tell you something. Jacksonville has better coaching than Denver does, and they might be in a better position to advance than Denver is right now.
Well, I like the Jacksonville team. I do. I like what's going on down there. I like the addition, you know, I mean, I like the head coach. They went pretty far this year. I mean, obviously that division they're in is very weak, and they took advantage of that. But they played well. You got to like their defense, and you got to like their running game. Blake Bortles is a big question mark. There's some games he looks decent, and other games he doesn't. Mostly on a downside, mostly when you rate him. But I don't know what his contract situation is. I don't know how many years he has left on a contract there, and how much cap room they have to go sign a guy like, you know, Cousins, because Cousins is going to come with a very big price, which means they're going to have to.
Yeah, well, Jacksonville can afford him, and Bortles is history. You watch, he's toast.
Does he stay there? Does he have a contract to stay there? Or they're just going to cut him, I don't know that you can trade him. I don't think anybody would want him.
They can cut him loose.
I don't think he's trade material. I don't think anybody wants him.
Huh? Goodbye.
It's a cold business, I'll tell you. College hoops. You got a big game coming up here. Virginia-Louisville looks like a heck of a contest. There's some interesting games going on in college basketball. We are getting down to that point. We're pretty close to seeing some conference tournament action in a couple weeks. And then, of course, we get into the March Madness. It's still a few weeks away, but we are day by day, inch by inch, getting closer. The month of January is over today, and we're heading on to February.
Some teams to keep an eye on. Auburn has been just winning. They just keep winning. Sproul's done a great job with that team. They're loaded. And they had another big win last night. Xavier, here's a team that's well coached, and it's been an interesting play, game after game. And Mark, I'll tell you, another team in the East is Providence. One of the Hurleys has done a heck of a job with that team, and they're a tough team. They're going to be a tough out.
Yeah, they will. And let's not forget Purdue. That's a team that.
Well, Purdue's obvious. You know, Purdue's the best team in the Big Ten by a lot.
That's pretty incredible how well their team has come together this year. They're having a remarkable season.
Yeah, I was just giving you some dark horses.
Well, yeah, and they are. But we might have a mid-major go a long way this year. That would be cool. It's. I think the public is would like to see some of that happen. Going back to the day when some of the mid-majors got into the Final Four and made it exciting, and people like to root for those teams that aren't as well known and well stocked and politically wired in. So it's cool to do that. Now, talking about the Cleveland Cavaliers, we've talked about that and how terrible they've been all year. Now they lose Kevin Love. That is a huge blow to a team that's already having troubles. Broke his hand. He's out.
You know something? I don't think their troubles are going away. It just doesn't look like their year. And I don't think that LeBron's going to be able to carry them. They just don't have depth on that team. And it looks like the deal they made with the Celtics is not working out. It just looks like it was just a bad trade. Kyrie Irving is now turning into a prop bet in the Super Bowl. That's the kind of year he's having with Boston. And Cleveland's got trouble. I don't think Cleveland's going to make the finals this year.
I agree with you. I don't think they're going to be able to turn the switch on. And there's some tough teams in the East. They're not. It's not as good as the Western teams, but there are some good teams. I mean, Toronto and the Celtics are very interesting clubs. And
Indiana.
Indiana's there. Cleveland could definitely miss and not make the finals. And very likely, unless LeBron ends up buying the Cleveland Cavaliers, which the rumor is that they're for sale, I don't think he'll be there next year.
No, he's going to go.
Yeah.
The question is where.
Well, they're clearing some space in the on the Clippers, and I don't. That would put him in L.A. where he already has a home and wants to go there. So that's a possibility. They have been clearing some space out there on the roster, but they also need to surround LeBron wherever he goes with some talent, and they're really lacking that out there. I mean, they've lost some CP3. I mean, they lost Blake. I mean, it's just they're moving people out. They got space to pay them. But I don't think they have the players to interest LeBron, because LeBron wants to get another title, and I don't think he's going to do it by himself. He needs a team around him as well, and I don't think that's going to happen with the Clippers.
No, I don't think so either. I think Houston is the logical candidate.
Well, they're already tough, and they already have a lot of pieces there, but that would be another. I mean, I don't know how you'd separate who would be the better team, the Warriors or the Rockets, if you put LeBron on that club.
Well, that's why it would be so interesting.
It'd be a two-team.
And I think the league would like to see that happen.
It would be a two-team league. Those two teams and nobody else. Pretty much.
Well, you'd have a third team in Oklahoma City if they had another piece.
Now, they had a big injury the other day. I think that's going to really hurt them.
Defensively.
And then, also George only has that 1-year deal there, so I don't even know.
It's not going to hurt them next year. But they've got a pretty good nucleus there, and we're talking about next year with LeBron. And Oklahoma City's got a pretty good nucleus there. I said if they had another piece.
But they got to keep George. And George, he's going to be hard to keep. There's a possibility. I've been listening to some things. What happens if George and LeBron go to the Clippers?
I don't think that's enough.
Yeah, you're probably right. But it's going to be interesting. But right now we're into a Super Bowl, and we got college hoops and pro hoops for this year, not next year. Anything, Hank, you want to talk about today before we sign off?
Yeah, I want to talk about the betting on the game. You know, you had the $2 million better last week who really affected the odds on the game. He walked into one place and bet $1 million, wanted to bet $1 million. The game was 5.5 at the time. They took some money at 5.5, lowered it to 5. He kept betting until they lowered the game all the way down to 4.5. And so he bet $1 million there and $1 million at another house. The money has been pouring in on the Eagles. Right now, from what I'm told, the books out there would actually need New England to win the game by 1, 2, 3, or 4 points. They could even get middle, and it wouldn't matter to them. That's how much money has come in on Philadelphia. The betting public has just been over the top on this game, and I'm beginning to think that 4.5 points is a bargain right now from the way the betting is going.
I'm looking at some of the lines right now. We're on the board offshore. Everybody talks about the Vegas lines, but the offshore markets take more money collectively. They take some big bets too. I know there's a couple spots taking $1 million here and there, but there's a couple 4s, and there's lots of 4.5s, and the total is 48 or 48.5. So it's been Eagle money.
Yeah, I think the early betting the early number was 49, and they tell me that the Sharpies came in and took the under right away.
Well, they may be right, but about the Sharps, I don't follow what the Sharps do basically, because they're number players and they're looking for value in lines and situations. The Super Bowls are different. It's a different marketplace than the Super Bowl. It's one and done. It's everything is. It's a whole different marketplace than Super Bowls. The Sharps are they win enough money during the year. They didn't have a great year this year though. A lot of the public took their money this year. So I'm not sure that I would be betting under on that game. I really don't. I don't really agree with that.
I don't either. I think you've got, I think you've got an inferior secondary with the Eagles and Brady going against it, and you've got, if Foles can hold up, you've got I think you've got an offense with Philadelphia that's got an offensive line that's very strong and may have some success against New England. So I think there'll be some scoring in the game. It's indoors, which is another thing that favors scoring. The weather's not going to be a factor. So, indoor games always favor the over.
I want to remind everybody that this is the 8th time Belichick and Brady have been in the Super Bowl. They've won 5 of the previous 7. And I just want to go back to the last 2. Last year, they were down 28-3 and came back. They won that game, or perhaps Atlanta lost that game. So it depends on what your point of view is. Brady is a great quarterback. Belichick's a great coach, and they have great players on that team. But they are flawed in some areas. This is not a dynasty where nobody can touch them. Go back to the Seattle game where they won the game at the last second because of Pete Carroll's play call that nobody will ever understand. And so, in effect, they could have lost the last 2 Super Bowls and likely would have been about 90% to lose it in the situations that the games turned out to be. But they came back and they did win. They're extremely good under pressure. They know how to function. Brady is a master. But when you look at these games and you say New England is not that dominant so that you can just bowl over people. not good. You know, there's a lot of bad teams in the NFL, and yeah, they can crush everybody 35-40 to nothing. I mean, but not the good teams. And Philadelphia is a damn good team. This is a number 1 seed. Yeah, they have a backup quarterback, but this guy, he's got some ability, and it has shown up a couple times. A few years ago when he was 27-2 touchdowns to interceptions against Minnesota, who everybody thought was the best defense in football, he crushed them last week or 2 weeks ago. So, yeah, I can understand why the money has come in on Philadelphia. You just can't get too carried away with New England. You know, they win their division every year. Yeah, but who they playing? Miami, the Jets, Buffalo. Teams that never win. They're never any good. So they're blessed to be in a division like that. So it doesn't toughen them up for stuff like this. And Philadelphia is a tough team. This is the best team in the NFC. Nobody to take lightly.
You just described the Minnesota Vikings going into 2 weeks ago.
I guess I did.
I'm going to tell you something, though. New England in these Super Bowls, going back to 2000, 4 of the games were decided. I think 3 of the games were decided by 3 points. 1 game was decided by 4, and one game went overtime. So they are not a team that runs it up. They're also not a team they have yet to score a point in the first quarter of any of their Super Bowls, which is an amazing stat. So they're a team that makes great adjustments, and that's because of their coaching. But you know something? The coordinators for Philadelphia, Frank Reich is an excellent offensive coordinator, and Schwartzy is a heck of a defensive coordinator. Bill Belichick said said that much in his press conference. So while everybody talks about the New England coordinators, I don't think that the Eagle coordinators take a back seat to anybody. Reich's been around excellent coaches his whole life, starting with his days in Buffalo as a backup quarterback. And, Schwartz was a great defensive coach when he was the head coach in Detroit. And he's been around some great coaches in his career, going back to Houston. So, I don't think coaching is going to be an issue in this game. And I've said this before, but, this is not Jacksonville. They are not afraid. They'll go for it on 4th down and not punt in a key situation where they don't want to give up the ball.
Good points, Hank. That's, this is going to be a great game. I'm really looking forward to this game. I really, really feel this could be a real war. Pretty excited about it, actually. Hank,
okay.
We're running up against the clock here.
All right.
Everybody, go to JimFeist.com. Hank's plays are there, my plays. Hank, have a safe flight out here tomorrow, and let me know when you get in.
Okay, I will. I look forward to seeing you.